Hey, Wirebug, what's up?
What? Is someone saying something?
I said, what's up?
Hello? I don't know what you're saying.
Can you not hear me? Sup?
Are you telling me up?
Sup?
Up. Okay, yes, you want to go up, okay.
No, sup, not up, not up!
Looks like I need some more levels in Wirebug Whisperer.
Oh yes, everybody, welcome as we finally get to see the Monster Hunter Rise skill system. It is revealed, it is confirmed, and it is World and Iceborne's system. Which is to say, you put on a piece of armor, or a talisman, or a decoration that gives plus amount to a skill, you get that plus amount to the skill, up to the cap of the skill, and each rank does something for you. And honestly, that is really good news. That is fantastic. That is absolutely brilliant. Because one, it is a really lovely system that works. It is easy to understand, it is easy to build sets for, and it just makes a lot of intuitive sense compared to, you know, the old system of, alright, I need to get to plus 15 in this skill in order to activate level 2 of it, so if I get plus 4 from my legs and plus 5 from my chest, that means I still need to get to another 6, so if I can get plus 4 from my arms and then do some decorations that are 2 plus 1s, and then that makes the 15 that I'm after, though of course I need to be aware of any minor skills that I might be incurring from this combination, so I need to choose some pieces in order to balance those out, because I can't be reaching minus 10, otherwise my hunter won't be anywhere near as effective as he could be. And so on and so forth. You needed bloody external spreadsheets and programs to just calculate what armor to wear, and while there was a lot of satisfying depth, it really was the furthest thing from just plainly understandable going. And it also meant that creating kinda cool, niche, weird sets, stuff like immortal builds, was very much harder because the total amount of skills you could have at once was very limited. Now, while I do think World and Iceborne have perhaps too many skills at once, or at least they do now, having power creeped all the way to Fatalis armor, it is definitely a better system for, hey, I want to build a set focused on this, I can just go and do that from looking through the armor, and you don't need to go out of the game to try and make it happen. And that's really, really good. The actual display of it's really nice. It's a lovely, clean-looking UI, and generally, I am very, very chuffed. But there is more here, of course, namely 2 new skills. Now, every monster in a game tends to come with new skills, of course, and a lot of them tend to be revolved around the new kind of, like, hook mechanic, in this case, wirebugging and climbing. Wirebug Whisperer, then, is rather interesting. Sadly, it doesn't let us have more than the allotted amount of wirebugs, but it does make them recharge, and it does let you keep an extra one for a little bit longer, and seems to just be all about maximum amount of wirebug movement per time, which is nice, but we'll see how useful that actually ends up being if it's something you really want to put investment in. And then Wall Runner is quite cool too, simply decreasing the stamina cost of wall running. I'm going to assume that means up and down as well as just left and right, otherwise that'd be way too niche, but I can see that being really good. One thing that did happen in the demo a lot is climbing walls, a lot of jumping off, bugging back, climbing a bit, jumping off, bugging back, climbing a bit, and if you can just be like, sod it, gonna make a gathering set with this, just climb straight up, no worries, then that's alright. And you may notice then that this Novice Talisman, our pre-order bonus, is indeed a talisman. Oh, yes, indeed, and it has our level 1 critical eye, which is the 5% we've come to expect up to the 7 ranks, which presumably will still be 40% affinity a la World. But this is indeed a talisman, not a petal ace. And you'll notice that it says these usually don't become available until you've progressed far enough in the game. So it seems that petal aces will be our starter thing, and talismans will be our endgame thing. Though that said, you can, as it turns out, after all this speculation, equip both, as we saw on our equipment screen. So we have our petal ace to go round, get our buffs from the permabuffers, endemic life around the map, and then we have our usual talisman setup in order to get the skills that we want. The fact that they're not available until you've progressed far enough is interesting to me, because essentially it means one of two things. One, they just want you to focus on Petal Aces, the new thing, while progressing through the bulk of the story, really engage with the endemic life and learn to love it, and not just rely on a talisman or charm, and then once you've beat maybe Magmalo for the first time, you can craft and get your talismans, charms like normal and weave them into your sets. That's kind of fair enough, and in that situation, it would be decorations that are the random RNG drops like they are in World and Iceborne, and you farm until you get the ones that you need for your set. Or option 2, they're an endgame later on thing because you have to unlock the ability to randomly farm them. In the old games, it wasn't decorations that was random, it was the talisman, the charms. Like, imagine if you finished a hunt, and instead of unrevealed decorations, it was unrevealed charms. You reveal them, and you're there like, please, please, finally give me the +5 agitated charm, please, it's all I need to finish my set. Well, that's how it was, and then decorations, you could just craft the full list of them, and get the exact ones you were after. Albeit, a lot of them did take a lot of material gathering from monsters, which honestly I kinda liked. Whether you prefer random drop decorations and guaranteed craftable charms, or random drop charms and guaranteed craftable decorations, is, I suppose, up to you. They both have their pros and cons, and if I had to guess, I would say Rise would be leaning towards craftable decorations again, and random drop charms / talismans. And there are two main reasons for that. Number one, it's by the team who were behind Generations Ultimate, and that had random drop talismans. Also, it's just how the old games have done it since their introduction. But two, it's the name, Talisman. When they have been random drops, they have been called talismans, and they are called talismans. It is the Novice Talisman. Whereas in World and Iceborne, where they're craftable, they are specifically charms. Whether that distinction is actually important, I don't know, but that's kind of where my gut's leaning. That said, we do see a Calm Talisman of white rarity, which is obviously rare 1, which would imply it's acquired really early in the game. So unless that Calm Talisman is another, like, bonus one that you just get given, it'd be weird for it to be like, normally you don't get talismans until you've progressed far enough through the game. And by the way, that far enough through the game is still on rare 1 level equipment. So like 30 minutes into creating your character. So I'm assuming that Calm Talisman is just another special one and not an example of the ones that only become available later in the game. I will say there's an argument to be made that given that the vast majority of Monster Hunter players are currently familiar with World and Iceborne, to then flip back to a older system of random charms might not be the correct move, but then again, it's not like it's difficult to learn a essentially reversal of the current system. And admittedly as well, you couldn't get Aquacore until you got to the Coral Highlands, which was a little bit into the story, so maybe that's far enough in to qualify as you can't get these until you've progressed far enough into the game. But I am still not inclined to think that is so. Especially due to the fact that they stated that Rise's skill system is going to be a mix of old and new. So now that we've confirmed that the skills themselves work like World and Iceborne, that's the new, so what would be the old? World skill system, but with the old game's craftable decorations and random charms / talismans. To me, that kind of wraps itself up into a really lovely, neat bow. In any case, which system it ends up being isn't really a huge issue. They both work, and every Monster Hunter game needs some kind of endless endgame grind to really add to that hook, to let people who want to put the time in really get that perfect set without restricting people who just want to have like an 80% good one, which is more than fine. And indeed, that's why random charms but craftable decos are pretty good, because even if you have a garbage charm, you can still make all of the perfect decorations and still have a pretty damn good set, but you still have that lore of finding that one god charm that makes it all pop, and I think that is quite nice. compared to endless decoration grind in World/Iceborne. And I should mention there is this little bit about now if you equip 3 or more pieces of the same armor set, you receive a bonus to all of your resistances. This is interesting. It's a little push towards using the majority of your pieces from one monster, but it's just your resistances, the damage you take. To me, this seems like it's fine while progressing through the story to just make full sets, have fun, you'll take a bit less damage, you'll be easier to get to endgame, but in no way do I believe that this will be enough of a defensive boost to offset for anyone the power of a full-on optimized mix set. So I think it's mostly just to benefit people who don't really care, and there's no bad thing to not, and just want to put on a full armor set for a monster they love and have a good time, and that's pretty good, honestly. So, there you go, guys. That is what we know now from the Monster Hunter Rise skill and armor and equipment system, and really, I am pleased. I really, really am. I think this is good to keep it. I think it makes sense. It's a smart decision. Obviously, World and Iceborne is by far and away the most played, most popular Monster Hunter, and if you're having all of those people who have never experienced anything else go to a system that isn't what they're used to, especially if it's the old complicated one, you're going to have a lot of unhappy hunters. And even as someone who loved the old game, I really still did not love that old system, at least nowhere near as much as I like World and Iceborne's one. So there you have it. Alright guys, like you enjoyed this, subscribe for more, let me know your thoughts of course, and please consider supporting the future of the channel on Patreon down below. Every little bit really does help keep us doing what you love us doing. A goodbye.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.